what is social self-care and how can it help to tackle the epidemic of sickness, loneliness, and depression, potentially all at once, based on your experiences in clinic and now building Remedy Place?
Yeah. I mean, very literally, it's taking care of ourselves with other people. You know, I think we're in a state right now where people are sicker than they've ever been. We're still waiting on the 2024 statistics, but 2023, the top 8 conditions in the US reached the highest they've ever been. We have every medical breakthrough in pharmaceuticals and surgery, and that's saving lives, but it's not making people healthy. So there's change that's needed. And we're also lonelier than ever. You know, we're more digitally connected, but the loneliness problem has reached an all-time high at a scary rate. So not only do we want to take care of each other, take care of ourselves, but it's also to do that with somebody else and build healthy relationships is so powerful. Because if we think of most of the ways that we interact, you know, when you want to go socialize with friends or on a date, it's usually around drink. You know, that drink is a depressant and a dissociative. So if you're trying to have a deeper connection, you're drinking a dissociative and depressant, it's not really setting you up for success. However, bonding over an ice bath or in a sauna or in an IV is enhancing your physiology, bringing out a better version of yourself and allowing not only for a deeper connection, but also a way to, it's almost a gift to be able to share with somebody else to both prioritize something that's so important.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what do you think is going wrong that's got us to this point? Because, you know, you mentioned that alcohol is a depressant, but there's been a rich culture of drinking over the years, right? And it wasn't correlated with these spikes in all of these negative outcomes around society. Maybe it wasn't, kind of tracked as well as it's tracked now. I don't know. There's plenty of potential reasons why, but what has shifted?
Listen, drinking alcohol is safer than being alone. I mean, the US, I'm not kidding. The US Surgeon General last year released a study that showed that pure isolation could be as toxic as 6 alcoholic beverages per day, which is a crazy statistic. So the act of drinking in culture and history is that it has been the way to unite us. But in the future, that doesn't have to be the only thing that unites us, because it is still a toxin and it is a depressant associative, right? So like there's so many other things to do to bring people together. But if it's the only way to bring people together, then that's a better solution.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. So anyone listening, 5 drinks max.
I always say
5 drinks with friends.
I always say that on my talks, and everyone's like, so drinking's allowed. So I have to now always say, like, this doesn't mean go and drink, you know, like go still do something healthy together.
Whatever you do though, do not drink alone.
Yes.
That's a double whammy.
Even worse. Yeah. Yes.
So looking into the work you do, you've touched on quite a lot of diverse modalities. You've got chiropractic, traditional Chinese medicine, functional labs, sport physio, and the list goes on.
Yeah.
And you put it into one holistic system.
Yeah.
To ideally prevent, the initial goal is to prevent surgeries and resolve chronic pain, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about that in some more detail. What's been the benefit and the potential drawbacks of approaching health in a more holistic sense than the problem solution sense that is in the Western medicine world right now?
Yeah, listen, don't come to me if you had an emergency.
Lost an arm.
Yeah, like that's where modern science and surgery and drugs have made huge advancements. Like they will save your life.
Yeah.
But they're never fixing the root cause.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're in pain till let's numb it. Pain only exists when things aren't biomechanically not moving. Numbing it is not going to fix the problem.
Yeah.
Oh, you have high blood pressure? Let's just thin the blood instead of worry about the plaque buildup. I mean, it's kind of crazy when you start thinking about treating the symptom is not treating the root cause. And the root cause is the thing that needs to be addressed, because we're not looking for a Band-Aid. We want to fix it. And I think it's just interesting because pharmaceuticals have gotten so big that medical doctors studied medicine. That's what they went to school for, but they're not learning as much about the human body as far as like how to be healthy. So when you think about it, I think the intention was when pharmaceuticals started existing, they thought that this was fixing the problem.
Do you think they thought it was fixing the problem, or was it?
I don't know.
Just a profit motive.
I don't like to go down like the conspiracy, like
follow the money.
But it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
And there's just things that for me, I've never talked bad about anything in the health and wellness profession because I think there's a time and place for most things. But I just do think that we've shifted people's mindset to be so reliant on our medical doctors and on a drug that it's taking away the ownership of what they're supposed to be doing. And there is no quick fix or magical pill that's going to solve all of your problems. And I think what has happened is people become dependent on external resources, and that's never going to solve the problem. And that's the thing is like, you get one body, one mind. Why wouldn't you treat this like your number one asset?
Yeah.
And which we've never been taught that. Like we were growing up, like I was never taught how to be healthy, how to take care of myself. And the fact that that's not a major part to our schooling is mind blowing, because you can go to the top, some of the most successful people, some of the smartest people you know, and they know nothing about it. And I think I was working with some patients that were billionaires, and the advice that they were getting, I was like, wait, what did they tell you? And listen, I'm not the smartest person in any room, but I understand anatomy, physiology, biochemistry of the body in a very deep way. And when you know that, it's really not that complex. It's a puzzle, right? It's like, it's crazy in like rehab protocols, whether you're a chiropractor or a physical therapist, it's like, just like how if you're a medical doctor, it's like, here's the symptom, here's the drug. If you hurt your shoulder, right, and you just had surgery, you didn't want to get surgery, the protocol shouldn't be the same for everyone. There's general protocols that should help, but it's kind of wild that people are just so programmed to think of like, this is this, so I must do this, instead of being like, all right, let me look at everything around that, and then what would I manipulate to fix it? And I think always looking at the body as a puzzle was an interesting thing, because that's where I started adding in all of these different practices and all of these different technologies, and then how you combine them in different sequential order and timing, or how you layer them, or how you include some but don't include others, is pretty simple to fix most of our health problems.
Well, there's that saying, if you give a carpenter a problem, they're going to use a hammer and a nail for the solution for everything.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that the surgeon will want to do surgery, and the GP will want to prescribe medicine.
Yeah. So
that holistic approach looks at everything as a system.
100%.
Yeah.
And the body's fascinating. The fact that like, I remember when I moved to LA, I was 22, and people were talking about the innate ability for the body to heal and energy. I thought everyone was batshit crazy, because I'm so science backed. Like everything in my mind, I want to understand the science, but I was so naive and so ignorant to just think that science had to explain everything, because it's impossible to know everything, and science is ever changing. We find things are wrong all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I had a similar progression into the way I viewed the world. It's become more and more esoteric and holistic as the years have gone on. Similar thing, I studied engineering, and I was like, if this is not proven by a double-blind placebo study, I don't want to hear it. And then some strange things would start happening, and I go, huh. And then more strange things would happen. I go, huh. And then I started meditating. I was like, huh.
Yeah.
This is long before meditation started coming out with studies, and there were different, there's now a lot of data around it, but I think I started really getting into it in probably like 2015, just on the start of like Headspace really taking off, before a lot had caught up, and I couldn't explain half of it. Now I've just accepted the strange energies of the world, and I'm coming along for the ride. And
why not? Why not try? There's no harm in trying most of these things.
Well, that's the benefit, right?
It's like, see if it works.
The thing with a lot of medicine is there's so many side effects.
Yeah.
There's not that many side effects with a lot of the stuff, that you work with.
Yeah. Well, think it's like an ice bath, for example. Try doing a double-blind study with an ice bath. It's impossible.
Yeah.
But what's the harm for go do it, try it, and then see how you feel.
Yeah.
You don't need to wait for a research article to come out and say what all the benefits are. Put on a wearable.
Give it a whirl.
Give it a whirl and see what happens.
Yeah.
Like, see what happens with your wearable when you drink tonight, how that affects your sleep. And then the next night, don't drink, and see how that affects your sleep.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is now with data and AI and all of these new techs, like those are the advancements I'm excited about, because all of us are different. There's common themes and trends, but you can just start teaching yourself based on your data. And I think that's key for the success of the future.
Yeah. Yeah. ownership of your own health.
100%.
Yeah. And have won the studies.
Yeah.